actually, sorry. Trust this thing to just stop working when I need it to work. And just plug this in right here. So I tried to do a live earlier, and it didn't work out because the babies refused to sleep. More specifically, Remo. Sorry, if you just give me a moment. More specifically, Remo. She did not want to sleep, and she has this habit of picking me. Like, she will not sleep unless I'm the one to put her down. And yeah. So, and my husband doesn't really know how to put her on his back. So finally got her to sleep. Remy is very easy to put to sleep now because she's older. All you have to do is just like put her in a dark room and lay down next to her and she'll be out. Yeah, in no time. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, hi there, and welcome to my channel. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. I know I was meant to post a long time ago, but it's quite tricky to post to record if you it's and recording and posting. And this year, that is definitely one of my goals. So bear with me. But we're here now, trying my hand out at this live situation. Yeah, I think it's easier to do a live because I don't have to edit and worry about other things. And for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Priska. I am a mom of two girls, Remo, who is now 5 months old, and Remy, who is 2.5. Yes, Remy is now 2.5. I cannot believe I'm about to have a 3-year-old little girl. Like, wow, like, how did I get here? Like, yeah. So the purpose of this live is to answer the questions that I receive on Instagram. I did post a ask me anything type thing earlier on during the day. So I'm just going to go through those questions and also other questions that I've received, throughout my time on Instagram. I do find that I get a lot of the same questions. So I'm hoping, this video can help you, help answer some of the questions that I do get. So what I do, just to give you some background on my page and what it is that I do on social media, I'm a stay-at-home mom, of two girls. I am currently homeschooling my 2-year-old. I can kind of say I'm homeschooling the 5-month-old, but I mean, there's not much schooling happening. I like to show my learning journey, little tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way as mom that I believe can be helpful to other parents or guardians of children out there. And yeah, also share DIY activities that you can do at home with your little ones. And just share information that is helpful to other parents. Let's just say that I do all the Googling, so you don't have to. Let's just say that. So welcome. I think let's just hop in. I was gonna do a bit of my birthing story, but that might take a while. As I was saying, let me start with the questions, and we'll see how far. The same name, Raise Me and Demo on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Facebook. But I'm mostly active on Instagram. In the stories, like my stories are popping. Someone even said I should just copy and paste my stories into my reels. But guys, your reels are so nerve-wracking, especially on Instagram. Instagram wants you to be like super perfect and super pretty. And if you know me, you'd know my house is always a mess. Like, not a mess. Let's call it a children's playground. It's very esque. If I can put it that way. I don't like to pretend that my house is always clean and tidy. It's clean. It's clean. It's just not tidy. With a 2-year-old, please, if you're able to have a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old, and hardly any help at home, and keep a neat home. Please teach me how, because I haven't mastered. So yeah, let's start with the questions that I received on Instagram. Um, okay, so this is one I do get quite a bit. Um, sorry, let me just see. At what age did you start Remy to learn? Okay, I guess at what age did I start teaching Remy to learn things and to be focused? And which things did you start with so that she could understand? Um, just to give a bit of a background, Remy did go to creche from 3 months. But yeah, she was 3 months when she first went to creche, and then I think we pulled her out at around 8 months. Um, 8 months, yeah, yeah. She should have, yeah, I think she was out by 8 months. So, because at the time I was working on my own business, and I had quit my job, and I was at home full time. We opted for her to be pulled from creche and stay home with me. Um, that way, could save money, and yeah, and that way I decided to look into ways of teaching her so that she wouldn't be so behind. The whole plan was for her to just be home for a little while I got on my feet with the business. But as businesses go, things got a bit tricky, and yeah, and I ended up staying home. I still am home with her longer than expected. So um I would say while she was in creche, because when I did quit my job, she was in creche for half day. So she'd only go from, I think I dropped her off at like 6:30, guys. Yeah, shame, the poor 3 month old baby. I drop her off at 6:30, but then by 2 o'clock she'd be picked up. So she only went to creche half day. So I'd already started to look into ways to entertain her while I was at home. I didn't really want her to just be sitting there eating toys the whole time. I wanted her to be active and learn something. Um, so I would say, yeah, let me just say, from about 5, 6 months old, I started to realize that I had to do something other than just like looking at her and playing with her and, saying a couple of words. I did come across a channel on YouTube called Songs for Littles, Miss Rachel. She was a really small channel at the time, and now she's like blown up, like she's everywhere. I vouch for her like a lot. Sorry, I really don't know what's up with my connection. I'm back, I'm back, I'm back. Okay. So with Miss Rachel, she had a son who had a bit of a speech delay, and he would go to speech therapy. And she then picked up a couple of tools and tricks that they would use at speech therapy. And she says when she got home, she wanted to find a channel on YouTube that would help facilitate his learning with the speech therapy, And she noticed that there were hardly any programs that did this. And that's when she started the YouTube channel, um, and implement some of the teachings that she had learned from the speech therapist into her channel. And also, what helped is that she was I guess a foundation phase teacher, so she could also incorporate that into her channel. So yeah, from Miss Rachel, I picked up a baby sign language. I had seen it in movies. There's this movie called Meet the Forkers. I think it's Meet the Forkers 2. And this baby on Meet the Forkers would always, like, I don't know if I can sign that, but sign the word poo, every time he wanted to poo. He wouldn't speak, but he would sign. So I always found that fascinating. And when I bumped across Miss Rachel, I realized, okay, you know what? Let me actually try this with Remy. So yeah, by the time she was a year, she could sign maybe, 5, 6 good signs when it came to communicating with us. So that would be more. Her favorite one was more, because when I'd feed her, I'd ask her, would you want more? And then she would sign that she'd want more. She was also bottle fed. So this would be the sign for milk. Every time she wanted milk, she would sign thank you. Yes, I really hope you guys can hear me. Hello. Okay. So she would sign water. What else would she sign? Eat. She would sign eat. And she would also sign again. How I'll teach her these signs, obviously I had to learn them first and then teach them to her. When she would be eating food, for example, or when she would want a bottle of milk, before giving her the bottle, I would do this. I'd say the sign, do you want milk, BC? Would you like some BC? And she wouldn't say no, obviously. And then I'd give her the bottle. She then associated the action of me giving her the bottle with the sign. Same with water. If I was giving her water, I'd show her water, and then give her the water. When we're playing a game and she really liked it, or if I was just throwing her up in the air, I'd put her down, like, do you want me to do that again? Do you want it again? And she'd know that if she did this, she gets to be thrown up in the air again. So I'd say I started teaching her from when she was from when she was a couple of months old. I started to implement these teachings, and I think doing that started her learning journey. That from there she was able to focus more and be more how can I say, I guess she would realize that we weren't just communicating. There's something that she could learn from when I showed these actions. She would learn that if she repeated these actions towards me, she could get me to do something. So yeah, that's how we started our learning journey. um that actually was a two-part question. The second part of the question, let me just get it. Which things did you start with? Okay, so we started with sign language. That was the main thing that we'd do before she could speak. And I would also sing songs from your old MacDonald, the ABC songs. I find that songs were very easy for her to catch on to. Yeah, and so singing songs, playing songs on YouTube, that also really helped with her learning. Um, for example, her when she had to learn how to when she had to learn animals, for example, the old MacDonald song I think worked brilliantly for us. We'd sing that almost every day, and she really caught on to a lot of the names of the animals and also the sound that they made from that song. So singing was a big one for us. I also like to advise that if your child does go to creche or daycare, try to ask the teachers there what songs they sing, so that when the child gets home, you can repeat these songs and they can know that, what, these songs are actually a bit important if mommy and daddy are singing them too. It's not just the ladies at creche. So you can do that. I think that can work out brilliantly for you guys. Books, we would also read to her. I've been reading to her from the time she was born. I've always been reading to her. I had read somewhere that if you want your child to have a love of reading, you need to show them in the home that reading is something that you normally do. So I would read a lot to her. Yeah, so that's how we started, with very small things. And then obviously it would grow and grow from there. Let's see what other questions we have. Okay, so I'm just gonna hop around with the questions because they're a bit like everywhere. So I'm just gonna try and yeah. Let's see how this works. What flashcards do you use? I kind of make my own flashcards right now, based on the book that she reads. So for example, we are working on this book. I got this from PNA. Smart Kids Read. It's very basic, like very basic. Has like one word sentences like honey and stinky, and out. I don't know if I'm showing this correctly. It would say out and up. Yeah, so very basic book. But at the end of this book, it does give you a list of words that you should, at the end or at the beginning of the book, it does give you like a list of words that you can actually make flashcards for your child to learn. A reason being is that you can help them learn sight words. They don't necessarily have to always sound out each word. They, there's just words that you look at and you just know that that is and without necessarily sounding it out each time. So I make flashcards based on the book that she's reading. This is also very new for me. I've only done this for this book. We got this from Ndombi Books. This is Pam and the Cat, also a very, very basic book. But this one has longer sentences. Like the hat has a tag. So I would make a sight word, I'd make a flashcard for the sight word the, because sounding out the is a bit tricky, whereas hat and has is very easy for her to sound out. So when it comes to flashcards, I'd make my own depending on what we're reading. But when we first started out, I used these. The box has been torn. If you have a toddler, you'd know what I mean. So I'd use these flashcards. First alphabets. I got these from Takealot. I've had them for a really long time. What I liked about them is that they're very big. They're quite large. If you can see, like against my hand, they're as big as my hand. So it's very nice for baby to see. What also liked about it is that they had the capital as well as the lowercase of the letter. So because of this, Remy was actually able to, she can actually identify this as a J, whether it is a capital or smaller letter. And I believe it's because of these flashcards. Another thing that I liked about it is that on the one side, it's blank, well, not blank, but it doesn't have any pictures on it at all. Whereas at the back, it will have J. J is for jug. That's a tricky example. Let me see this one. Yeah. A is for umbrella. So when I would teach her, when I show her these flashcards, she would obviously look at the picture and say umbrella. Then I would say umbrella to show that this U is associated with the picture of A. And as time went on, I wouldn't show her the picture side, I would show her this side and say, what's this letter? In the beginning, she wouldn't say she would say umbrella. She would say, you know what I mean? She would say the whole word because that's how she's learned it. But as time went on, she learned that this is the letter A. So yeah, this is why I like these flashcards. They could be harder. I mean, it is made out of cardboard, but I do find that they could be harder. She's definitely torn a few that I've had to stitch back together. Kids will be kids. But yeah, I really like these flashcards. If you can find a flashcard that just has the letter K on, the letter on it, I would suggest just getting a plain letter. This can be a bit distracting because then they can start looking at these letters instead of the main letter. That's why when I would hold it to her, most of the time I cover it so that she focuses on this part. So if you are looking for flashcards, look for something large, very little distractions, not many patterns or colors, so that they can just focus on the letter that's being presented to them. And if it does have a flip side, great, then you can get 2 in 1. So yeah, those are the flashcards that I use. Next question. Okay, what books are you using to teach Remy to read? Okay, as I've said before, the books, I don't know if I said it actually, let me not say that. The books that I'm using, it's all very new for me as well. I've only recently started to introduce actual books to her. This was actually a gift. I don't know if you guys know, you guys should know, Letu Nana. She is a brilliant little, she's now 4 years old. But at the time she was 2 and she really went viral for being able to read by the age of 2. So her mom wrote this book and I really love it. But I do find that the sentences are a bit long for Remy. So yeah, this is the book. I won't show everything, but do get this book. It's really nice because it has activities at the back that can help. Hi, am I there? I hope I am. So yeah, I went to PN and I found this book. and it has much shorter sentences, and also yeah, some pages just literally have one word on them. So I did like this one better to start her off with. Um, so how I'd usually read to her rather than make her read. It's just, yeah, just easier that way. And then as time went on, I would ask her, oh, can you sound this out? And then she would sound it out, and yeah, that's how we'd kind of read. She still can't read the entire book, but she can sound out most of the words. And yeah, I've made flashcards for this book, so just to help her memorize the words, like out, she now knows when she sees the word out, she doesn't necessarily have to sound each of the letters out. She actually knows how to read the word, or up, for example, very short words. Yeah, so I would suggest something like this to begin with before moving on to a book with more sentences. The books will usually have level one. I'm not too sure. Maybe some of the educators out there can help us. I've got another level one book. Okay, I don't have it right now. That I read to her at bedtime, and the sentences are much longer. So I don't know what level one means, but yeah, just open the book and look inside to check if it is at the level that you want your baby to learn at. So yeah, those are for now. I literally just have those two books that she is learning to read from. The rest of the books that I have, I read to her at bedtime or throughout the day, just as stories. I don't know if I mentioned before, I am Montessori inspired, but I say Montessori inspired because there's some things that Montessori suggests that I just don't do because it doesn't suit my lifestyle or my budget. Or just, yeah, just doesn't suit my beliefs. When it comes to books, they don't believe in you having books. They believe in you having books based on reality and not fairy tales. And I kind of think that fairy tale books aren't so bad because it keeps the imagination alive, and also the descriptive words. I love descriptive words in a fairy tale book. So she does have like a Cinderella story, and what's this, like the Three Little Pigs. I do read those type of stories to her. Yeah, so not all her books are based on reality. But yeah, those are the books that she reads. Next question. How can I enhance my baby's vocabulary? Okay, I guess this will also depend on what age the baby is. If they are, let's say, I think if they're younger than 3, you can. I think a good place to start would be sign language. That'd be a great place to start. If they aren't comfortable sounding out or vocalizing their words yet, they can always use their hands. And kids are very quick to use their hands rather than their mouths. So, yeah, I would start with sign language. Another thing would be to drop the baby language. Call things as they are, not as your baby thinks they are. Yeah, just leave the baby language, guys. It doesn't help your child at all. It actually hurts them. So they children usually imitate what they hear. So if you're mispronouncing a word, they will always mispronounce it too. Whereas if you speak to them properly from the beginning, they'll learn to speak faster. So tip number 2 would be to drop the baby language. Songs, lots of singing. I think songs are like the easiest way to get baby to vocalize better. Um, be it even songs that are not in English. Yeah, traditional songs, songs you grew up singing. Yeah, any song. Just sing to your baby, and it helps if the song has some sort of counting or animal sounds in it or colors. Those type of songs will definitely help them increase their vocabulary. And also just take your time. I mean, children are different. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be speaking by a certain, okay, let me not say that, because it can be a concern if children aren't able to speak by a certain age. But don't maybe force them to speak early if that's something that they're not ready for. But if they are able to communicate to you in other ways, like I said, in sign language, then that's perfectly fine. So yeah, I think those would be my tips for getting baby to, you know, yeah, better their vocabulary. Next question. How do I get Remy to focus? Okay, so Montessori teaches that when it comes to their toys, don't have all their toys laid out on the floor. I know, like I said, I don't listen to everything that Montessori says. Sometimes our floor is just full of toys and I can't do anything about it. Instead, they do suggest having a shelf, and on the shelf you'll lay out a set number of toys or activities that you'd like your child to work throughout the day, and they should have access to the shelf. They should be able to take things on and off the shelf as they please. um, having an activity shelf is a great place to start to teach them to focus. If they do have a tub full of toys, children usually just go to that tab and start unpacking everything, and they never really focus on one toy or one activity. So that's why they suggest of having a shelf. They also do suggest having each activity in a tray. Like I said, Montessori is a bit expensive. I don't have a tray for each activity, but I do kind of separate. If you've seen on Instagram, I do kind of separate the toys on the shelf, so you can see this is activity 1, activity 2, and so on and so forth. So top tip when it comes to getting baby to focus, don't put all the toys out. Just put out a couple of toys, have them focus on that. Another thing is let them lead. I do find that if you telling a child what to do, they most likely won't listen. However, if you let them pick the toy and start to play, and you show interest in what they're doing, they will most likely take instruction better from you. So, for example, Remy loves puzzles. It's something that we've recently discovered. She is obsessed with puzzles. If you put a puzzle in front of her, she will, shut out everything and try her best to solve the puzzle. And once the puzzle is solved, she'll break it up again and solve the exact same puzzle. So, how I feel that's developed over time is because we've set out puzzles for her. And when we do, it would be a smaller puzzle, maybe a 3-piece puzzle, and she can focus on that puzzle. And if she selects that puzzle, let's say I want her to paint, and at mid painting she decides she wants to go get the puzzle, I just pack up the painting and let her get on with the puzzle. That way she feels that she has some sort of autonomy over what she's doing, and she's not being dictated to all the time that no, it's time to do this, it's time to do this. Then they focus better. They're not intimidated by the activity either, because it's actually something that they're interested in doing and not something that they're being forced to do. Also something that I've learned from Montessori. So um yeah yeah I think that's about it on that question. I think I've answered it. Let's see the next question. Oh, the topics here are bouncing around, so please do excuse me if the story is not making too much sense. What are the main differences between Remy and Remo? Oh, there's a lot of differences. Remy was such an easy child, but Remo, I must admit, she shows me a bit of flames. First of all, she's extremely loud. Like, her cry is so loud. Like, it's so loud. I've had a couple of older people come up to me and say, "Oh, I thought she was a boy," because of how loud her voice is. So that's one thing. I think the second thing is that she doesn't take a dummy, and I don't know how to keep her quiet, because with Remy, the moment she says, "Meh," you just plug the dummy in and she'd keep quiet. Whereas this one, I actually have to figure out ways to keep quiet. So yeah, it has been a bit more challenging with Remo than it has been with Remy. Remy was such an easy baby. I don't want to lie to you. Even waking up at night, like she just wake up. These days, Remo wakes up and she wants to talk, she wants to play. With Remy, I would just wake up, feed her, and she'd go back to sleep. So I hope I'm back. Hi. So there are quite a few differences between the two of them, even though they really do look the same. I mean, we have a family WhatsApp group, and every now and then we'll post a baby picture either of Remy or of Remo, and ask them guess who, and there'll always be someone who gets it wrong because they look so much alike. Like, as babies, they look so much alike. But yeah, they very different personalities, I find, very. But I will be using a lot of the tools that I learned with Remy on Remo. Um, yeah, yeah. Oh, and on that subject of how do you get a baby to focus, I think another tip I could give is to sit on the floor. It sounds random, but sit on the floor, be on eye level with the toddler. Instead of being like you sitting on a high chair and they're down there, it makes you very separated from what they're doing. Whereas if you're sitting down low with them, they feel like you're involved. They feel like you want to actually, you're interested in what they're doing. So yes, if you can sit on the floor as much as possible with them, be at eye level with them. I've even heard like some parenting channels speak about when you're talking to them, rather kneel down or crouch down and get to their level instead of being an authoritative figure speaking down on them. It's very intimidating. With Remy doesn't really like males. Um, Even with my baby brother, it took a while for her to warm up to him. There's just something about men that she doesn't appreciate. So, what I tell my little brother to do is he's very tall as well. He's extremely tall. He's those ones, 6 feet, what, yeah. Um, so I'd tell him to crouch down or go on his knees and be at her level and greet from that level so that she knows, okay, you're my friend. You're not an authoritative figure, towering over me, speaking to me. So sit on the floor. I think that's a great tip I can give. Let me see. Is Remy going to be homeschooled in high school? I don't know. I don't know. I must be honest. I haven't really thought that far. Even now, just homeschooling her until grade one, I don't know. Honestly, we're just going with the flow. I do have a friend who is homeschooling her daughter, and she's been quite an inspiration to me because her daughter is, or last year, I believe her daughter was 7 or 8, and she was already testing grade 4 exams and doing excellent in them. And she was purely homeschooled from the get-go. So this is the type of person I'm looking up to, and I'm hoping I too can do something similar. um, but yeah, homeschooling is a bit tricky. As much as it is nice to be home with my children and I get to impart my knowledge on them and my principles, um, the money, I don't get paid to be a stay-at-home mom. Now we're a single income home, and it is very difficult. I've thought about going back to work many times. I've looked for jobs many times, but yeah. So for right now, I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing this until she goes to high school. I don't wanna lie, I don't know. I guess in my dreams, I would love to, but if it's not practical for my family and for the kind of lifestyle that we want to have, I would send them to school. I'm very open to school. I have nothing against school at all. I went to school, you know, and I'm fine. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But for today, right now, the month, what month is this? January. I will be at home. Maybe ask me in March what I'll be doing. We'll see from there. Next question. Yeah, thank you for all these questions, guys. Um, what curriculum are you following? I am not following any specific curriculum. I've actually joined a couple of homeschooling groups on WhatsApp and on Facebook just to get a better understanding of what curriculum is out there. You'd be so surprised. You'd be so surprised. It's not just IEB and I don't remember what we did, but yeah, it's not just black and white. There's so many options for kids to learn nowadays, or maybe I just never knew. Maybe they were always there. So right now I'm just doing my research, seeing what suits, like I said, what suits our lifestyle, what suits the principles that we're trying to impart on our children, and then I'll take it from there. Remy is quite young for formal schooling. Most 2.5-year-olds are in creche. At creche, it's just a whole bunch of physical activity, playing, dancing, running, hardly any book work. So I'm not in a rush to get a curriculum for her, even though she is showing interest in sitting down and learning to read. But yeah, I still like to keep the learning fun. If you, like I said, if you follow us on Instagram, you'll notice that I incorporate a lot of play into how I teach her. So I'll make it a fun activity as opposed to like sitting down and opening a workbook and starting to teach her there. I'd rather make little flashcards and make a little game out of the flashcards, when I want to teach her words, for example. So in terms of curriculum, yeah, I'm still looking. If you have any suggestions, please do let me know. The research still continues, but yeah, I'm not in a rush at all to get her on any sort of curriculum. Yeah. Let's see. Next question. What do you get up to in a day? Okay, so in a day, okay, let me start off in the morning. In the morning, when we wake up, I've always done this. When we wake up, she reads, or I read to her. We've been doing this. Like I said, if you've been following us on Instagram in our stories, you'd know from even before Remy could speak clearly, I would always give her a book. Um, whether she reads it or not, that's on her, but she'd always have a book with her. I read in the morning as well. I'd read my own, whether it be a self-help book or a novel, just to start off the day on a slower pace instead of starting off the day with screen time. I'd like to start off with a book. More recently, we started doing daily devotions and involving Remy in it as well. So we'll sit down together as a family. I'll read out loud the devotion, and then after reading, we'll sing a little song, and then yeah, give her her own book, and then she'll page through that if she likes to. With reading, when she was younger, I would give her a book. Maybe it would be a book on colors or shapes. Just a simple book with a lot of pictures. There's this book, she's actually torn it up right now, so I can't even show you the book anymore. But it's called My First Words. Got it from Take a Lot. Also, I get a lot of. Pardon. Am I back? Okay. Okay. Let's try that again. So the question was, what does a day, what do we do in a day with Remy? I start off with reading to her in the morning. Been doing this for a while. I'd give her her own book while I read my own, or I read to her, depending on her mood. Sometimes she doesn't always want to be read to. She just rather grab her own book and read to herself, or just page through it. There was a book that I bought from Take a Lot. It's called My First Words. It had like literally my first words based on different themes. So it'd be farm animals or shapes or colors, and should page through that while I'm reading, I don't know, any sort of novel or anything. Sometimes I wouldn't be reading. I'd just hold the book in front of my face, so that the whole point was just to let her know that reading is something that we do normally in our home. That is not so that when I do introduce her to reading herself, it's not a foreign concept. It's something that she's seen us do often. So yeah, so I'd read to her. Once I've read to her, we'd go and brush our teeth. A cool thing that I had seen a dentist do with their child when they're brushing teeth, they would make their child recite the vowels. So A-E-I-O-U, but I would do it A-E-I-O-U, specifically for her to open her mouth like A-E-I-O-U. So that way she actually learned her vowels a lot quicker, because it's something that would incorporate daily. Like she'd do it all the time. Till today, that's how I get her to open her mouth wide enough so that I could, get into the back teeth. So we would brush our teeth. As like I said, Montessori would suggest that you have like a little station for your kid to be able to reach their toothbrush and reach, the essentials so that they can do them themselves. I don't have that. I have a normal basin that's adult size, and then I just pick her up or she stands on a stool and I brush her teeth. But what I do is, what I try to do, like, I'm not perfect, but what I do try to do is I brush her teeth, and then I brush her teeth properly, and then I give her the toothbrush so that she can practice brushing her teeth herself while I brush mine. So again, giving her autonomy over what she can do with herself. So she'll open the tap, she'll rinse the toothbrush, try her best to clean her teeth herself. And then we would make breakfast. What I really love is to get her involved in the kitchen. I feel like she's learned so much from getting in the kitchen with me. What isn't so nice is that she has a peanut allergy and an egg allergy. And I mean, how do you eat breakfast without eggs? So that's been really tricky. So I should most of the time make cereal. She loves oats or porridge, or Future Life, that type of cereal. So I'd make I don't have a, guys, Montessori has a lot. There's these really cool learning stools that they get on, and it actually blockades them into, so that they don't fall off or anything. I just make her stand on a chair, and we just hope and pray she doesn't take a wrong step and fall off. She has almost fallen off a couple of times, but she's learned not to step in that direction. So yeah, I'll just have her next to me. She will then pour dry oats into her. Oh, actually, before I get into that, in the kitchen, we have a drawer that is closer to the bottom, that's closer to the ground, let me say. And in that drawer, I put her little cup, a couple of her bowls, a plate, her little cutlery, all in that drawer. And if we get into the kitchen and she says she wants water, I will ask her to bring me her cup. This way, she actually learned. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted. Sorry. So yeah, so the drawer. So this way she'd learn what the different items in the drawer were called, because as soon as she asked for water, I'd say bring me the cup, and even if she wasn't sure what the cup actually was, she just asked for water. So surely I'm asking for the thing that holds the water. If we're making breakfast in the morning, I'd ask for a bowl. Sometimes she'd bring me a plate, and I'd let her know, no, Nana, that's a plate, bring me a bowl, and they should try again. So yeah, that's one of the things that we do. She has a little drawer where she can pick her own things. So she picks the bowl that she wants to use. She picks the spoon that she wants to use. Also the color. Sometimes I'd say to her, bring me the orange spoon. Or I'd ask her, which color spoon do you want to use today? And then that way we can also practice the colors, So yeah. Then I put her up on the stool. She would pour the dry oats into her bowl. If you've seen on Instagram, you know that this gets messy. It gets very messy. So I try to put a tray down and set everything up for her in that tray, but she definitely does spill out on the tray. So she'll pour her oats, her dry oats, into a bowl. I would pour the hot water. I'd pour a little milk in a little cup or jar for her. Then she'd pour milk. She would sprinkle some sugar, some salt on there, put some butter in there, and I'd have her mix up her own oats in her bowl. So yeah, that's something that we like to do, to have her in the kitchen helping out. It also helps with increasing the vocabulary, for that other question that I had earlier. There's just natural ways that you can do, just having conversation. If you're cooking with your child or preparing a snack with them, you have to speak to them, and they most likely will have to speak back or agree or disagree. So a really cool activity that you can do is just have them in the kitchen and have them prepare something with you. Ask them, oh, what's this? Oh, it's an egg. Oh, do you know that a chicken lays eggs? Really? Yes, this comes from a chicken. You can create conversation around the activity that you're doing, not necessarily having to open a book and read about chickens. You can just tell them what you know about an egg, like, oh, this is an egg white, this is an egg yolk. Well, as time goes on, we're not really there yet, but as they get older, you can always introduce that in the conversation. So I do believe that learning can happen anywhere. And as a parent, I've gone through the school system, so I might not know everything, but I definitely do know where the egg comes from. So that's something that I can tell her. That's one less thing that she has to actually learn at a later stage. So yeah, so we'll make breakfast. She then sits down to eat. I've always tried to let her feed herself. I think maybe from when she was like a year and a couple of months. I would give her a spoon and let her try to feed herself. Obviously, now that she's older, she's able to do it a lot better. um Washing up, oh, actually, before washing up, once she's done eating, she usually eats on a chair, a high chair that has a little tray in front, and obviously she'd spill on the tray. When I do come to take her plate from her, I give her a cleaning cloth, like a damp cloth, and I'd ask her to wipe either a cloth or a wipe, depending on what's nearby. And then I'd ask her to wipe the surface. This way, she knows that after eating, we have to clean up after ourselves. We have to make sure that, the space is nice and clean for the next time that we have to use it. So yeah, I would give her a wipe, and yeah, actually have, yeah, like I said, this is all on Instagram. This is all on Instagram. If you do scroll down far enough, you will see her wiping up a surface when she was, yeah, I think about a year old. Yeah, I started doing that. And also, I am going to be repeating these things again with Remo. I hope to document them a lot better than I did with Remy, because I really was winging it. It's not like I intentionally, set out on this journey, but it has fallen into my hands, and I do want to nurture what I've learned and make sure to pass it on to Remo. So yeah, stay tuned. Not hopefully, I will document this much better. So yeah, have her clean up, and once she was able to sort of like reach the sink, I would have her walk to the kitchen and pop her plate and her spoon into the sink. Obviously, I make sure that these are plastic plates and spoons and so on and so forth, so that nothing breaks. Montessori does suggest that you use glass and silver, and yeah, no, I don't really feel like having my toddler throw a glass into the sink just so that she can learn that glass breaks. But like I said, whatever works for you, do you. Another thing that we like to do is have her unpack the dishwasher, or pack it, depending on our day. Yeah, that's also a really fun thing for her to do, also because children most of the time will unpack. If they see something packed, they will unpack it. So why not have them involved in unpacking the dishwasher, or even unpacking the washing machine? She loves going in there and just pulling, especially when she was younger. So after I've done the washing, I'll just put a washing basket in front of the washing machine, and then let her go in there and just pull as hard as she can and unpack that. Yeah, so I've had a lot of people say to me, why do we have your baby do chores? I'm not making my baby do chores. This is something that she would naturally do. A child will open a cupboard and unpack it. That's what they do. So why not have them unpack something that actually needs to be unpacked? Do you know what I mean? Something that we've recently started to do is have her sort out the cutlery. So in the dishwasher, it will have that little tray thing where you put all the cutlery. I'll take that out, and then I also take out the cutlery sorter from the drawer, and then I'll have her stand up on a chair, and then as she's pulling out from the dishwashing basket thingy the clean spoons, she'll sort them out into the different slots in the drawer. So yeah, that's also something cool. I mean, at first she would mix up all the spoons with the knives and the forks, and but as times went on, she realized, okay, the spoons go with the spoons. The big spoons go this side. The small spoons go this side. And also, it helped her learn the difference between big and small just by doing that activity. And also, she learned how to be safe around knives. Because at first I would leave the sharp knives out and only put the butter knives in. But as she became more cautious, yeah, I would leave the sharp knives in for her to actually pack up. So yeah, that's something you can also do. to help them, learn safety as well. Yeah, so that's some of the stuff that we do. Watering the garden. I always try to make sure that we go outside. Not, I do try for daily, but sometimes, yeah, yeah, going outside can be messy. And in summer, like we have this tree that has so many bees, and it stresses me out. Like I don't like bees, so I like them, but like when they're not near me, you know what I mean. So going outside sometimes isn't always an option, especially when there's too many bees. But I do try for her to go outside in our garden for a little bit. If we don't go outside into the garden, we'll just go for a walk around our neighborhood. Yeah, just for her to get some fresh air. She picks up rocks. She loves collecting rocks. I let her do that. And yeah, while we were walking, she would sing a song once again just to make the time go by. She really loves the wheels on the bus go round and round, so we'll just be walking, clapping hands, doing whatever, just to keep her entertained. Sometimes we just walk in pure silence because all she wants to do is walk. A lot of the time she wants to run. I don't feel like running, but so yeah, so that's how we keep ourselves entertained on a walk. Um, as mentioned, in the garden, we would then water the plants. I do allow her to hold the hose pipe and water the plants. If I'm throwing fertilizer on there, I let her know that, hey, this is called fertilizer. It helps the plants grow. Give her a bit of a lesson in what we're doing so that she knows why we're watering these plants and why do we do this all the time. So I just let her know, what, the plants are thirsty. When last did they drink water? You drink water all the time, so the plant needs to drink water regularly. And as time goes on, she sees that, oh snap, the plant that we planted is actually growing. We actually are, creating something here. So yeah, that's what we do outside. She also has a trampoline that was gifted to us by an awesome family member. I didn't know I needed a trampoline up until we actually got it. She's so active, like she is extremely active. She has a lot of energy in her, and when she just gets too much, we just go outside and I let her jump all that energy out. So yeah, if you are in the position to get a trampoline, please do. Like wow, or I just let her jump on the bed, especially at nighttime when they have all that built up energy and they don't know what to do with it. I just let her jump on the bed. Like, we'll get a new bed. We'll get a new bed. Like, honestly, things can't be perfect when you have children, guys. I don't know. Maybe at your house, but at my house, this is a kiddie's playground. So much so that a friend of ours who has a son said they're not going to come here with toys because what's the point? This is the whole house is a toy. So yeah, my house is definitely made for kids. um so yeah, other chores that she might help me with would be to hang the washing. She would, pass me pegs. We have multi-colored pegs, those plastic pegs. So as she's taking it out the bag, as she's taking the pegs out of the bag, I'd ask her, "Oh, what color is that?" She'll say, "Blue, pink. You got a green one, Mama." And incorporate that into the conversation so that she also helps. That also helps her to um, learn her colors and imprint that in her mind. Um, yeah, I think those are like the main activities. Oh yes, she'll help me sweep sometimes. Let me not say help me sweep. I will sweep and she'll sweep something. But she'll imitate what I'm doing, or even mop. She does have like a mini mop and a mini broom situation. Also again from Take a Lot. So she'll just imitate what I do. Also sometimes I give her a cleaning cloth and I'll spray some hmm I don't know, Mr. Min. What is that? Surface cleaner. I don't know, but I'd give her Mr. Min, and she'd spray some Mr. Min for her, and then she'd wipe that as I'm also cleaning up throughout the day. Our routine now has changed a bit because now there's a baby involved. So, and also she's older, so she is able to do a lot more things on her own. I don't always have to be next to her if she's doing something. But this is before Remo was around. Let me say, yeah, while I was pregnant and before Remo was around, this is what our day would look like. By 12 o'clock, she's done. She's out for a nap, and yeah, she maybe a nap can take 2 hours. Currently, it takes an hour and a half, but after 2 hours, should be up maybe at 1 or 2, depending. By then, I am all mummied out, so I maybe give her a tablet to play on. She does have a couple of games on there that are also either help with vocabulary or with coding. Recently, we've downloaded a game that a chess game that teaches you how to play chess. I don't know how to play chess. My husband does. He loves chess. He used to do chess competitions, so that's something he's trying to pass on to her. Um, so yeah, give her the tablet, watch a movie. Like, also Montessori says no screen time before the age of 2. That doesn't suit my life. I get tired. I need her to be distracted sometimes. So I put her on a screen. I do try to make it educational. Sometimes it's not educational. It's just TV. Like, it's just a movie. It's really not a big deal. Nothing's gonna happen to her. So I don't think. So yeah, I do let her watch movies every now and then. Or I'll just get out some paper and some crayons and she'll just color in, or some paint. Yeah, in the afternoon it's very relaxed. I don't keep it as strict. Um, yeah, I just it's more free flowing in the afternoon. Because I feel like she's able to concentrate better in the mornings. Yeah, by the afternoon I've lost her. I can't get her to do much. And I also don't really want to do much either. I'm either preparing for supper or preparing for her to bath. So yeah, that's us in the afternoon. In the evenings, um she'll just be playing around with whatever toys she has, feeding her baby play-doh, crashing cars, making them race, or running around the house making us chase her. um, and yeah, that would be in the evenings. Then she'll go for a bath. um, Now we have these really cool bath toys that are little alphabets and numbers. So I'll throw that in the bath with her, and I won't really talk about them, but just so she sees the alphabet and the numbers around, just so that it's always kind of around her. Sometimes we actually do some reading or some practicing of reading in the bath with these letters. I got these were gifted to us. The Munchkin alphabet number thingies. But again, you can find these, I think that I've even seen them at Discam, but Take a Lot, they're also there. Yeah, Discam, Toys R Us, Babies R Us, those type of shops, they should be there. Yeah, so yeah, not too much activity with those, but the just so the letters are always in her line of sight. Even if she doesn't read it out loud, if she looks at it and picks it up, it will click somewhere that, oh, this is the letter C or letter A, for example. Um, and then I put her to bed. Oh, yes, I didn't speak about clothes. So when it comes to picking her clothes, I've always tried to give her options. So be it for pajamas or play clothes during the day, or even not all the time, but even if we are going out, I would put up maybe two shirts, a blue one and a red one, and I'll ask her, oh, which shirt would you like to wear? And obviously, before she knew her colors, she would just point at the shirt, and I'd say to her, oh, so you want the blue shirt? And as she got better with colors, she'd let me know, oh, I want the red one. Just to Am I back? Am I back? I hope I am. So yeah, as mentioned, I would give her maybe two options of shirts or shoes that she'd like to wear. Again, giving her a choice, giving her a bit of autonomy over her life, letting her know that her opinion actually matters in this house. She is able to pick for herself in some situations. And also, it's controlled by me. I only take out the two options so she doesn't end up wearing something crazy. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I just dress her because we don't have time for that. But yeah, that is something that you can do with baby, to also help them learn the name of the clothes and the colors of the clothes, and yeah, stuff like that, or even learn to put them on. um, she is able to kind of sort of dress herself. with a little bit of help, but she is able to do that. And that's because, again, when we are dressing up in the evenings, when we have more time on our hands, I do let her try and figure it out on her own. And then we go to bed. I try to read her a story. Sometimes we just watch a little movie before we go to sleep. Don't tell her father because he doesn't like it. But yeah, and then we're off to bed, and that's how we spend our day. Guys, thank you so much for all the questions. I didn't get through all of them, but I did get through most. I think I'll be doing this again. This was actually quite fun and informative. I hope it was informative for you. But it was really nice to, get more information out there to you guys. I really hope this was helpful. Please let's connect in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you again really soon.